This. There's my CV. That's bleach. Chemical, oil. Give me the job no one wants to do. I'll do it.
Hi, I'm Alex from NME, and today we're joined by one of our favourite actors, the star, director, and writer of Monkey Man, it's Dev Patel.
Hey.
How are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you so much, man.
Monkey Man feels a bit like an ode to all the different types of action heroes. There's a bit of John Wick in there, a bit of Jason Bourne, even a bit of the humour of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, who was Dev Patel's ultimate action hero when he was little?
Bruce Lee.
Really?
Yeah, for me, he was my guy. I remember sneaking downstairs and watching Enter the Dragon through the banister, and the first semi-decent paycheck I got, I tracked down a vintage Enter the Dragon poster, which I put in my very tiny apartment, and it just took up too much space. But he, you know, someone that I could relate to, similar pigment of skin, hair. He was so charismatic. Every inch of my box room that I grew up in had Bruce Lee posters, rubber nunchucks, broke every cabinet in the house. It was, yeah.
Are we talking dressing up for kids' parties as
Yeah,
Bruce
yeah,
Lee?
I had the yellow, like, kind of, you know, Bruce, you know, he had that jumpsuit and that whole thing, yeah.
You've not done a huge amount of fight scenes in your career so far.
No.
How did you cope with the physicality of Monkey Man?
I'm kind of like my own, it's very masochistic, this film, because, you know.
Just a little bit.
He gets the kicked out of him a lot. You know, I you know, one of the fight scenes, I remember I told the stunt choreographer, Brahim, who's amazing, I was like, use my face to just break every piece of porcelain in this bathroom and every cubicle. But I wanted to kind of capture the element of desperation and fight against the notion of choreography. You know, when you watch actors, you can almost see them counting through the moves sometimes on stuff. And I wanted it to feel really primal and jagged, and to that extent, we even hired one of the guys in the stunt team who was operating a camera, who was shooting their previses I was like, I'm gonna give you a big boy camera, Stephen, and you're gonna kind of be the third person in the fight. So we managed to get some really interesting angles and keep the camera flowing.
How's the hand? Because I know you...
Yeah, it's all right. It's a little bit wonkier than I remember it. But yeah, it's I broke that on like the first fight scene, which was crazy.
That's fun.
And you know, the production was going to go down, and then we managed to put a screw in it, and the doctor was like, you know, do not put any pressure on it, because if you bend the nail in there, it's like pulling a nail out of wood, like you're gonna a bent nail out of wood. And we went back and shot the whole fight. I had to change some of the choreo to one-handed fights, but yeah, we made it through.
That's like the only job where they're like, oh, you broken your hand, but we're just going to put a nail in it.
But it was,
and you can carry on.
It was COVID, and the crew had actually made a T-shirt with the X-ray of my hand with a screw in it on the arm, because they're like, this one screw kept this production together. You know?
But that wasn't the only injury, was it? There were a few more.
I mean, I'm not quite Jackie Chan, but I had a couple broken toes, you know, torn shoulders, a load of other injuries, but yeah.
You directed the film too. When I was watching it, I was thinking, because in the fight scenes, you're wearing a mask a lot.
Yeah.
How did that work when you're giving notes? Because you take it off, or I'm imagining the crew just sort of stood there, sort of terrified, because they've got this sort of half-naked lunatic guy in a monkey mask screaming notes at them.
That's a crazy image. But luckily, on the mask stuff, it was a mixture of me and this amazing stunt double, Kula, and that was some of the first stuff we shot. But everything without mask is 100% Dev. But there was times when I was in the mask being like, you know, can we get closer around? And they're like, and it was quite funny.
It's like, is that Dev?
They're behind the scenes, yeah. Or I look like Carrie, you know, just covered in blood. And I'm just having a serious conversation about like angles and lenses. Yeah.
But directing, how did you cope? Tell me more about that.
It was the most ferocious, humbling, and nourishing thing I've ever done in my life. You know, it was at the beginning of the pandemic. We started in India. I was in the biggest slum in Mumbai when it got crazy and we had to leave. The production went down. We came up again in Indonesia. I'd never been, so I kind of blagged my way there. And you know, we didn't have enough crew. We didn't have enough like anything. So every accountant, you know, gaffer and kind of tailor ended up in front of camera talent. So it's just a process of adapting and not taking no for an answer, and it was pretty amazing.
So you're giving notes to people that never acted before?
Yeah. Completely. There's a bunch of people that have quite big roles in this that have never been in front of a camera before. And
now you're never going to be able to hire them because they'll have got a taste of the
I know, they've got agents now, and it's like, yeah.
Tell me about working on the soundtrack, because there's some bangs on this. I think my favourite is the Swedish House Mafia remix of Red Light by the Police.
That's great. Yeah, so one of our editors, David and Ilka, we were trying to find this. We just wanted something that was just super heavy, like, you know, being like in a club in Berlin somewhere or something. And we found it really hard. Actually, originally I wanted to do it to Maggot Brain, you know, by Funkadelic.
Yeah.
And the songs are so iconic, and the scene was running too long. But that version of Swedish House Mafia, that song's amazing. We kind of cut this super cinematic when, you know, he sees his nemesis. So that was a cool song. We've got a bunch of underground Indian rappers. We've got Rick Ross and Jay-Z in there. We've got
Tina Turner as well.
Tina Turner, Boney M, because my mum loves Boney M. She hasn't seen the film yet, but she always cooks and vacuums to Boney M. So there's the most savage fight in an elevator where I bite a knife through someone's neck to Rivers of Babylon. Yeah.
I remember that, yeah. And it's a good idea not to put Maggot Brain in there, because that would have doubled the length of the film.
Yeah, it's such an amazing song.
They don't even see us. They're all up there, living. We're stuck here in this. That's no life, bro.
So what are you gonna do about this, monkey man?
So I know obviously you're a big film fan. You talk a lot about Korean films. Obviously Tarantino, you already told us you like.
Yeah.
But obviously Enemy's a music magazine, which I think you know already. We've interviewed you enough times.
Yeah.
And we always ask, can you tell us about an album you've had on repeat recently? Or an album that you just always go back to?
Okay. This is hard. I don't know what album it is. There's two artists right now. So it would be, I've just been listening to a lot of Aldous Harding right now. She's like this kind of like odd poet, super profound. The lyrics are just like, they catch you off guard.
Yeah.
You know, what if birds aren't singing, they're screaming? Just like, wow, that's crazy. You know, you can just ponder on that for a very long time.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I've been listening to a lot of Aldous, and actually just folky, but like I'm an all-time diehard Ben Howard fan.
Yeah.
So I listen to Ben Howard a lot.
Have you ever met him? Or
No, I'd probably malfunction if I saw Ben Howard in person. But every film I've got a Ben Howard song that encapsulates that whole experience. But he's just nourishing. Yeah.
Yeah. And are you listening on Spotify? Are you a vinyl person?
I'm a Spotify dude, and I'm slowly integrating to vinyl. Yeah.
Has that been a dream of yours to have a really big sort of?
I think no, just my friends and my partner have got me a little, thing. So I've been starting to collect vinyls. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dangerous. You're gonna spend a lot of money on that. And obviously, Skins was a hugely important show to Enemy readers back in the day.
Yeah.
And
they had the Foals, right? They had and Beth Ditto or something was the first trailer.
Speaking of which, I wanted to try and jog your memory with maybe a picture. And I sort of rooted through Getty trying to find a good one. And I think this I wanted you to kind of see what you can remember of it. Yeah. And I think this picture actually is from that shoot where Foals played the party.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
And I just wanted
to. I'm wearing a corset. I remember this.
That was the usual thing back then.
Yeah, with a Rockaware belt, and basically my ass is hanging out. That was a crazy day, because they did these like commercials where they just would rent out these mansions or whatever, and then just a bunch of kids our age and older would come, and half of them were drugged off their faces, and they're like, just have fun.
Only half.
And yeah. So it was insane. It was really, really insane.
And shooting those like party scenes, because were they just like in the middle of the day, and you had to pretend there was loud music? I know that's the thing that people have to do.
No, but what they would do is, I remember one of the best days of shoot, they played Shy FX, Original Nutter. Mm-hmm. And that was just like, they had this club scene and everyone would just go mental. You know, at the beginning when he's like I think it's from Goodfellas or something, some of the kids from the neighborhood will carry my mother's groceries all the way home. You know why? It was out of respect. And everyone's just like, bad boys. And it went nuts. It was so cool.
I mean, you got a good memory for lyrics.
Yeah. No, not really. But I remember that because they played it like 60 times. And, you know, I was like a Kenyan dude in the Masai Mara, just like jumping up and down. Like,
and being on the show must have helped you sort of learn about bands and artists that you'd never heard of before, because you're surrounded with your peers. Like, I imagine there's lots of hanging around, you're chatting music. Was that something that was like influential in your cultural sort of journey?
I think just filmmaking is a very musical process. Like you know, you're in the car, and if you're nice enough to let the guy driving you, the driver to set, he'll be playing some music. Then you go into the makeup trailer, and if you've got a big transformation or they're putting a wig on you, there's music playing. And then, you know, for me, because I'm quite hyperactive, the only way I can actually really focus is by physically blocking out the exciting people on set and listen to music. So that's, you know, when I did Green Knight, David Lowery, the first thing he gave me was a soundtrack of what he'd been listening to. So that was really, influential.
Yeah. And what do you listen to in the makeup trailer? Because one of the most interesting interviews I've ever done was with the makeup artist on Joker, and she gave me the playlist that Joaquin Phoenix would listen to while he was getting his makeup done.
What was he listening to?
I can't remember what's in it. It was like quite weird, obviously. But what about you?
I just did a film recently, and I was listening to a bit of John Martin, and then it kind of varies. It can be anything. You know, if I need to get amped up, it's going to be some hip hop. You know,
The Police.
Yeah. I listened to The Blaze, this French group, and all sorts of stuff, really.
I mean, that's something you should put on your Spotify. People would love to listen to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Or
just send it to me and I can.
Yeah.
No one else.
Okay, cool.
Thanks so much for chatting to me.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Cheers.
appreciate the question.